Stupid loop. Ah, one of these days I'm gonna fucking remember to turn that goddamn loop button off. Hey, but StreamYard, you need to fix that shit. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to Last Take. I get the last take, motherfuckers. A More Hoops production. I am your host, Evan Moore, and yeah, we got some summer league stuff to talk about today. You know, we had two games over the weekend. Unfortunately, both losses. This summer league team as a team is kind of abysmal defensively, and yeah, not the greatest of teams. But we did get some interesting individual performances, from some young guys. Bronny and Connect, both looked okay in the first game. They both had the same kind of nerves issues. They were both getting good looks, but just not hitting shots. Bronny was 2 for 9. Connect was 3 for 12. Bronny only had 4 points, but Connect had 12, going 3 for 12, which, one of those was a 3-pointer. So that, that's, so basically 7 of his 12 points, the rest were gotten from the free throw line. So, that's a real plus about him, is that, he can get to the line. So, and Bronny, he had some moments, and like I said, he kept getting open looks and getting good shots. He just wasn't knocking them down. And he was solid defensively, kept getting in position, being where he needed to be, but still kind of just doesn't seem, quite equipped for the physicality of the NBA yet. That's going to take time. They play a lot rougher than at the levels that he's been playing at. So yeah, that's going to take some time. So he'll get in position, but he still gets back on his heels a little bit too easily. And, he'll get a little bit smarter about that and get better about that. But, overall, a decent debut by both of them. Nothing stellar, not that great. The two returning guys, Castleton and Lewis, Maxwell Lewis had a really nice game 1 and then a really kind of abysmal game 2. Like that whole game 2 was in fact abysmal for everybody to watch. That was pretty awful. But I like Maxwell, and he was really good in that first game. But I also wonder about his fit with the big team potentially, just because he seems like such a isolation player and a guy who's just kind of getting his own shot. And I think that's kind of why he struggled in game 2, is that, he's not a guy getting his shots, in the flow of the team. He's, getting his shots through, isolation and through getting to the bucket, and, and he's nice. I like Maxwell, but I do wonder about that fit potentially with the big team. And then Castleton has been kind of a disappointment. I feel like he hasn't made a huge improvement from last year, and possibly might even regressed a little bit. He seemed to have such, nicer touch near the basket last year, kind of a really nice soft touch that just seems to not be there this year. Maybe he's, struggling through some chronic injury that we don't know about, but he just seems a little stiff out there. And, he has improved from 3, which is nice, but, he hasn't put on weight, and, just, he gets banged around down low, thrown around a little bit way too much. So that's a little disappointing to see, And in both games, he was mediocre. Like, I think 10-10 in the second game, and I believe like 10-11 in the first game. I think so. Getting a double, but kind of mediocre. And I don't see him really putting pressure on anybody, on the big team, this year. So that's really kind of disappointing because, the one thing, when we're watching summer league games like this, the one thing to remember is that, like, a guy, really excelling isn't necessarily, something that's going to translate to the next level, but a guy who is still struggling at this level can tell you that they're probably not going to do so well at the next level. So, and to see, Castleton, who's a return player, second year here, and there should be some improvement. Like, if you watched last year, Max, when he came back for his second year, he was much improved, far better player. Like, he was the best player on the team, and it was obvious. And Castleton should be, it should be him, Maxwell Lewis should be looking like the best players, and they're not, unfortunately. Maxwell Lewis does at times, but not, definitely not for both games, unfortunately. So that's kind of disappointing. So they may be still kind of stuck in the G League for most of this year. We'll see. But there are some other bright spots. Armel Traore, the French kid. He is really active, really good defensively, and it makes sense why they gave him the 2-way contract. And he's got some potential to, possibly, just because of that high motor, maybe get some minutes on the big team. Maybe it's some spot minutes. Don't get carried away with any of these guys. Like, all these guys are basically fighting for, one or two spots that, 3 at the most, and just to get spot minutes, so and the 2-way contracts have been pretty much already handed out. So yeah, it's tough. And even though Bronny and Connect, have got full contracts, they're going to have to improve a lot to get more minutes, but they do show nice potential. Definitely nice potential, because, like Connect in particular, going 3 for 12, like if he hits, just 3 more of those, we're talking like, wow, we're impressed, because he's like scoring about, 18, and, it's a whole different story, and also with Bronny, going 2 for 9, he hits 3 or 4 more of those shots. It's a different story too. So yeah, it's, hitting those open looks, will make a difference. Bronny didn't play in the second game either, because, he had a swelling knee that they were just taking precautions on, and had him sit for that second game. So didn't get to see him. But we do have a really nice shooter in Blake Hinson. This guy can shoot the lights out, and like, pressure or not, guy in his face, like, he'll throw up bad shots, but just beautiful, perfect mechanics every time. Just, you can tell that it's, like very, very small variance in every shot that he's putting up. And it's just, yeah, it's nice to watch. And he's got an NBA ready body, because he used to be a football player. So, he's like 6'9", and, I believe like 240, I believe, like, he's got some bulk to him. So, the one thing I will say about him is that, defensively, like, he is still a little bit slow-footed. He's quick for his size, but, yeah, guys at the next level could blow by him fairly quickly. So, that could be an issue. But with that shooting, it does make up for it. And the guy's got like, no fear with that trigger too. So, he's been fun to watch. And then we also had another guard that was also fun to watch. Tommy Kuzi. Not spelled like the Boston guard, but those of you old enough to remember, there's probably nobody old enough to remember, but yeah, and another bald white guy, but he's got some really nice, really nice game, and he's going to be good for the G League team, and possibly, if he plays better, he might put pressure on one of those two-way contracts to, get it switched. Same with Henson. They both stand a chance for, putting some pressure on either of those two-way contracts to, get some time with the big team. So yeah, it's it's going to be interesting to see. It's only been 2 games. It's we get one more game here on Wednesday, and then they go to Vegas on Friday, and I believe they play 4 games in Vegas. I'll have to check the schedule I didn't write it down before this one, but I believe it was 4 games in Vegas. It might only be 3, but yeah, so we've got that coming up, but hey, Summer League, it's here. And like I said, don't expect, great basketball here. It's a lot more physical, but it's a lot more ugly too. And, because like scheme wise and team wise, like things that these guys are doing is pretty rudimentary. And so, yeah, just don't expect great things from Summer League, but just, try and look for individual performances and, just have fun and enjoy yourself, because by the looks of this defensively challenged Lakers team, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of wins. So. Anyway, I think that's about it for me. Hopefully I have something to talk about tomorrow with this slow moving freaking CBA, but if not, I'll figure something out. So anyway, I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.